y'all going to excuse me just a second. I've got to go pee and then throw up.
Hello, I'm Hot Toddy, this is Miss Pengrino, and welcome to another all-new episode of Let's Split It, Get
Real.
And on this episode, we're gonna dive into not one, but two movies!
Dos.
Anyway, on this episode, we're gonna talk about two movies that we saw while we were on summer vacation.
Vacay.
Alrighty then. They are two movies that are very popular right now. Unfortunately, they've been out for a little while too, so sorry, we're a little late to the game, we know. We're late, but we on purpose waited until now because we knew we would see these in Florida, which is where we were.
Yes.
And so now it is time to discuss two films, and we'll begin with Disney's and Marvel's Black Widow. Miss Pengrino, what did you think of Black Widow?
Well, it was a decent movie.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. No, go ahead.
I don't know. It was a good, movie. Like, if it was just an action movie on its own, it would have been better. But, to still be in the Marvel universe, it was weird. It just wasn't up to par for Marvel.
I agree. If this wasn't a Black Widow movie, if this wasn't a Marvel Cinematic Universe film, I think this would have been a great standalone superhero film.
Yeah, for sure.
But as I have stated, as some of our friends have stated, and other movie review groups have stated, it's a little too late to do a Black Widow movie. It didn't really make a lot of sense to do it. Now, I know that this film has gone through development hell for years, and there were, and please excuse me for this term, I don't mean anything by it, but there were more important Marvel films to get out before Black Widow, especially when I got a stain on my shirt, what the hell? Especially when it comes to the overall story, which the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it ended with Endgame.
Right.
And we did have a Spider-Man film, we do have this Black Widow film, but really it ended officially with Endgame, the phase one. And so to go back and revisit a character that died 2 years ago, it just seemed a little forced.
Which, to be honest, had it released almost immediately after Endgame, it could have been a remembrance thing.
I guess I could have allowed it then, but see, this movie...
Yeah, but it's been too long.
Yeah, we're not going to give too many spoilers here, but this movie does take place immediately after Captain America Civil War. It takes place in 2016, after Captain America Civil War. So, in my opinion, it would have made more sense to have that film come out, right after Civil War. Why wait 5 years later to put it out? Now, I know originally it was going to be 4 years later because this movie was supposed to come out last year, but the pandemic caused issues. Wasn't able to.
Still, even that, I think, would have been too long.
But even in 2020, it wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense to put the movie out now. But it's okay, fine. It's out. What did you think of the movie itself?
The movie itself, I do think, was a pretty good movie. Action-wise, story-wise, because you do get into the backstory of Black Widow. You see where she comes from. You see her mentality on things, what she's gone through. Just kind of like any standalone Marvel movie that goes into the background of...
Sorry, Teebs the cat keeps meowing out here. What? What is it?
Oh,
oh God. Okay, you can't see it. She just climbed up on a giant... We have this big clothes thing that sits in the middle of the hallway out here outside the media room, and she just climbed up it, so... Wow.
Yeah. I was wondering how she got up there. Now she's going to take a nap up there.
So as you were saying about the film.
As I was saying, it's kind of like every Marvel standalone that's about a person, about one of the heroes. It does give you their background, and it's very good at doing that. You see why she is the way she is, why she does what she does, how she makes relationships with people, and not so much.
And I have to admit, like I did like that aspect of the
Yeah,
film.
for sure.
I do like backstories that are not so, if I may, backstory-y. Like for instance, like because the
flashbackies or the whole thing flashbacky.
Marvel Cinematic Universe did it right. They knew how to do these movies, and that even like the first films of each character wasn't so like, this is how it happened, and now this is drawn out, and this is dramatic, and blah blah blah. Like the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Spider-Man. Like, we didn't see him get his powers. We don't know how.
Yeah.
We know how it happened. But we didn't see it. We didn't have to see Uncle Ben die. We didn't have to go through all that
Didn't
crap.
need it.
We didn't have to go through all that. So I always have liked how they stay concise and straight to the point with their origin stories.
It's like you get the background in future tense.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
And that's what you want in a movie like
Yeah.
this. But I have to say I did enjoy this movie more than Captain Marvel. I think Captain Marvel was a character that was kind of shoehorned in. She's without a doubt the Marvel Superman. Like you can't hurt her in any way. So I mean, that kind of takes the reality. Not there's a whole lot of reality in these movies, obviously, but that kind of takes the reality out of play with a character like that.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like her. It was underwhelming. Black Widow was underwhelming too, but I mean, at least it was a character you knew, and like you said, it was nice to see the origin story of another Avenger. It was way too late for it, but at least we got it, and because we've been promised a Black Widow film for years now, and so it was nice to finally get it. But I thought that it was a little too unbelievable. The action in the film was a little too ridiculous. As you'll see in the film, it is entirely too unrealistic and ridiculous.
They're trying to make it like Marvel action quality when the movie was more just like a basic standalone action.
Which leads to the point, I was going to say my next point was, though the action was schlocky and dumb, the acting was really good.
Yeah,
I really liked the heartfelt moments.
Really good people for this.
The heartfelt moments in this film are really good, and they actually are gripping. So much so that, unfortunately, Black Widow kind of falls prey to the same thing she falls prey to in the Avengers movies and all the other movies. She's overlooked. She is the secondary character. She's a secondary or a third character in the film. Because I found the other characters in the film much more compelling and much more interesting than her.
Her quote-unquote sister.
Her sister in the movie.
She went, like, that's where my brain went.
She's incredible in this film.
My favorite part when she tells Black Widow she's a poser.
Yeah.
Because she poses for, like, photo ops.
Why do you always do that thing? Do what? The thing you do when you're fighting. And this thing that you do when you whip your hair when you're fighting with the arm and the hair, and you do like a fighting pose. It's a fighting pose. You're a total poser.
You're not a poser.
And then she does one, and she goes, "Whoa."
Yeah.
Ugh, that was disgusting.
But she was my favorite character.
I loved all the other characters in the film. They were so interesting. And I don't know if you caught on to this. I didn't really catch on to it until like the end of the movie, and I was like, okay, I get it. A lot of these superhero films, a lot of films in general these days have a message in the film that's kind of, that's in the film, and you kind of have to figure out the message for yourself. Mm-hmm. This was clearly a movie about sex trafficking.
Yeah.
When you think about it, this movie is so hard up on sex trafficking, which is
brainwashing.
And brainwashing, which are two terrible things that happen these days in very hardcore ways. And so I did like it for that. But yeah, there's a hidden meaning in this film, and it's sex trafficking. Because there's a bunch of Black Widows, and they're all brainwashed assassins. Like, none of them actually want to do what they do, but they're hypnotized in a way. They're basically hypnotized into doing what it is that this guy who Red Letter Media, shout out to them. Red Letter Media pointed out looks like a cross between Harvey Weinstein and Martin Scorsese. I can't say his name. The director. Harvey Weinstein makes total sense because obviously he's a creep. But
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese is funny because it was a couple of years ago he was the director that said Marvel movies aren't cinema. Like they're not real movie going experiences. They're like a roller coaster, like a theme park in the theater. You know, that's just basically what he was pointing at. So
Some of them kind of are.
they are, and I would agree. They're not cinema. You're not going to go in there and learn and be wowed by, oh, that was such a moving thing. No.
But this one you kind of did,
It's
hence
just-
why it doesn't fit.
It's just, these movies are for fun, but they also, they have a great storyline. It's like reading comic books in the theater. So, I mean, that's what makes them interesting. But I agree, you're not going to get any kind of like moving cinematic experience from a Marvel or am I boring you? Oh, sorry. Let me just
Sorry.
go. Why don't we just end it here? Let's do it again.
Bye.
Roll the credits again. But no, that was funny that he looked a little like Marty Scorsese, but no. Overall, the movie was fine. I felt overall it was kind of boring. Did that ring true to you?
Yeah.
And would care to elaborate?
Well, because like I was kind of thinking about it. It was very predictable and kind of basic.
The thing about the action, again, it was just
But
it was so broad, it was so overly done, and
I'm trying to like. So here's the thing. Though.
Yeah.
Is it a bad movie because you expect Marvel quality, or is it just a bad action in general? Because I'm trying to think of it in like just the action sense movie, taking it out of Marvel, and it's really not that bad. It's pretty decent.
The thing
but
about
if you're
it,
thinking Marvel, no, it's
boring, and
not
that's exactly
comparable. It's boring.
that's the overall
Yeah.
here is that as a Marvel movie, it was kind of boring.
Yes.
But if this was a standalone, if this was the first time you'd ever seen this character, that being said, that would not bode well for the film because again, the main character turns more into a side character like she always does in this film.
Yeah.
Behind all the other more interesting characters, but
It was more like, so the way my brain thinks about it is like an adult Incredibles.
that's what this was to you?
Adult real life Incredibles. You have all the crazy members of the family,
Oh, okay.
like who get
Yeah,
together, who have
yeah.
their superness
Right.
to fight evil crime.
Because again, no spoilers here, but yeah, that's exactly what
Does
it
that
ends
make
up being.
sense?
Yeah, but the only
Okay.
difference is the Incredibles. The Incredibles are a real family.
They are
This is not a real
well,
family.
Well, that does not make you family.
Just go see the movie. But the point is, no, as an overall Marvel film, it was kind of boring, but as an action film of a character like you'd never seen before, because again, if this was an origin story about people that were related to Black Widow, and it was just her sister, David Harbour, Rachel Weisz, who was in it, if it was just about them, that would have been an extremely compelling story. I would have enjoyed that more, but the fact that you kind of have to shoehorn Black Widow in it made it kind of bleh. So, it was a fine film. It was fine for what it was. But it was not the best Marvel has done. But again, weirdly enough, I enjoyed this more than Captain Marvel. So that should tell you something about Captain Marvel. Nothing against Captain Marvel. You talk about a predictable film. Black Widow was predictable.
Yeah.
Especially since, this takes place before she dies. So she won't
Yeah,
die
she knows
in this
she
movie.
won't die.
That's a spoiler I don't mind giving you. She doesn't get killed in this movie.
Well, you know that.
She lives through this movie. I'll go ahead and tell you.
Yeah.
But for the rest, it was just kind of whatever.
Although I do have to say, too, given the movie quality that's been put out lately, it was definitely one of the tops.
Was that a segue into our next film?
Well, let's take it as one we can.
Well, before we go, though, final thoughts on Black Widow. Would you recommend Black Widow?
So, yes and no. If you're an intense Marvel fan, you expect it Marvel quality, you're probably going to be sadly disappointed. Don't go see it. Maybe wait till it comes out and then watch it.
Or we know it's on Disney Plus right now. You can go to the theater and see it, or watch it on Disney Plus.
You cannot just watch it on Disney Plus. You have to pay $30. Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't pay $30 for it.
Wait, so you don't get it for free if you have Disney Plus?
You do after November 11th. So just wait till November 11th.
Yeah, or wait till Blu-ray.
Or wait till Blu-ray. Yeah, it's definitely, so if you're like a diehard fan, but you want to see all the movies, but it's gonna disappoint if you're a diehard. So just wait till it comes out. So that way you can say you watched it. If you have a collection, you can own it, but just wait.
And
now, if you're looking for just like a good action movie, something to see, to be entertaining during this time, absolutely go see it. But you have to take it out of the Marvel context. You do, to enjoy it, in my opinion.
And I sort of agree with that. My thing is, if you are just a diehard Marvel fan and you stay loyal to that franchise and that brand, and you just want to see it out of loyalty, that's kind of the reason why I did it.
Yeah.
Then go see it, make your own opinions about it. But really, if you're looking for like an exciting like Avengers type Marvel movie, or even on the level of Spider-Man or Captain America, you're really not going to get it with this film. So make your best judgment on this one. I don't really know what to tell you. If you're loyal to the series, go see it. If you want an action movie that does have some heart to it, go see it then as well. But
it's hard to actually give you a full yes or no on this one, because it's all about the context and the way you look at it. Because in some context, it's a brilliant movie, and others it's meh.
And that's another segue about another film that it's going to be hard to tell you one way or the other to go see it. Hi, Miss Pengrino.
Hey, Toddy.
I'm back.
I see that.
I've switched out hats.
All right, yeah, you did.
Look at that hat. Get a zoom in shot. Get a zoom in shot on that. This is my official Space Jam hat because of honoring the first film.
Yes.
Because we also saw, while we were in Florida, Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Space Jam 2.
You hate me. Anyway, this is the one starring
LeBron James.
in this film.
LeBron James.
Plays Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan plays a basketball game with the Looney Tunes. Spoiler alert: the Looney Tunes win. Is it 1996?
No.
That's what it feels like.
They don't just play a regular game; they play Dom Ball.
Okay, all right. Well, whatever. Your thoughts. What did you think of Space Jam: A New Legacy?
So, I thought it was a cute movie. As per our prior segment, again, it's a take out of context on its own stand. Like, yes, it is a sequel, but you can't expect it. It's hard to explain.
Let me try to do this for you. So this was a film that was clearly made for one group of people. A friend of mine said on Facebook, he's like, because he's our age, he said, I went to go see it and I hated it. And he said, I feel bad for saying that because I know this film is made for children, but, and then he goes on, and I disagreed with him at that point. I said, I know that the overall goal is to make children and families love this movie and, buy into the products and everything, but let's face facts. This film was made not for anybody but us, people our age, the millennials who went through the first Space Jam. We love Space Jam so much, we got a poster of it in the other room.
We do.
I'm
he
wearing
has a hat.
I'm wearing a Space Jam hat. We loved this film when we were little because it was a very unique idea. This wasn't
friends
unique.
who have the Tunes Journey.
Yeah,
Jersey.
I have the first one on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Because it was such an interesting idea. This was not an interesting idea. This was a sequel / reboot, which is in the business called a soft reboot, where it is a sequel, but it's essentially the same exact story, and that's exactly what it is. A basketball star plays basketball with the Looney Tunes to save their damn lives, and that was it. That was the plot of Space Jam: A New Legacy, and while it was cute, it was
a cute
I
movie.
liked it for what it was. But it lacked the heart and the feel, I felt like, of the first Space Jam movie. I just don't think, because again,
Well, so first off, for me, the new new technology, I guess you will, the character, like, all the 3D-ness and the, like, computerizedness of it kind of took a little bit away for me.
Again, because the first film was a unique idea. Space aliens come to Earth, and what they want to do is kidnap the Looney Tunes because they need entertainment. They need entertainment. They need funny stuff for their planet. So they go down and try to kidnap the Looney Tunes.
Get the Looney Tunes!
Looney Tunes!
The Looney Tunes then say, no, we're not going with you, but I tell you what we'll do. We'll play you in a basketball game because these were little tiny aliens, right? So hey, we'll play a basketball game. It'll be easy. Lo and behold, the aliens steal the talent of some of the greatest basketball players of all time, and they become the Monstars.
Monstars.
Are you high?
No.
Did you have some of the marijuana treats?
I did not.
Okay. Anyway, and so at that point, the Toons realize they need help.
We need your help!
So they call on the great one, Michael Jordan, to come help them play this basketball game against the Monstars. Long story short, they win. They're fine. That was a unique story. That was interesting. You can't do it again and say, oh.
But they did.
Yeah, you can't just do it
did.
again. This time, it doesn't, it's not about, is that a spot too? What the hell is this? Anyway, is that a spot? But the point of this film, it's not the same as the original. This one, LeBron James basically refuses to be a part of a movie contract that the Warner Brothers studio was proposing to him, and the whole thing was conjured up by the computer system.
The algorithm.
The algorithm of Warner Brothers, played by Don Cheadle.
Which is kind of funny, and it's
ironically
funny
also from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Played by Don Cheadle. He gets pissed. He kidnaps LeBron and his kid, brainwashes his kid. A lot of brainwashing in this episode.
A lot of brainwashing, yeah.
Brainwashes his kid into thinking that LeBron doesn't love him, essentially. It's kind of horrible. And so they play basketball against each other because somehow the Looney Tunes get involved because they were going to get canceled.
No.
They were going to be canceled by algorithm. The cancel culture at its best. But they already canceled Pepe Le Pew. He was too offensive. He didn't even get to be in the movie.
Poor Pepe.
Yeah.
No, remember, because he gets booted into the character universe and he gets dropped off on the Looney Tunes planet.
Right.
And so that's where they come. I mean, he could have been dropped on any planet.
But the deal was the Looney Tunes get in trouble because algorithm is going to delete them from the Warner Brothers files if they lose or whatever. And so
also,
take
if
it from
they
there.
lose, all the people who tune in to watch this basketball game will be stuck in the multiverse.
And that's where we really need to get, because look, another reason why the first one worked so well is because it was just about the Looney Tunes and
Michael Jordan.
And Michael Jordan. It was about the Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan, and everybody in the audience, if you remember the game,
They were cartoons.
They were all specifically Looney Tune characters. Yeah. Looney Tune characters. In this movie, because it's the algorithm, because it's the computer system, he conjures up every character from every Warner Brothers file. So all throughout the movie...
Potter.
Wait. So all throughout the movie, you look around the sidelines, you see the mask, you see Harry Potter, you see all the Batmans. Michael Keaton's Batman, Val Kilmer's Batman, George Clooney's Batman, you see Heath Ledger's Joker, Jack Nicholson's Joker, you see the Penguin, you see both Penguins, you see Danny DeVito's Penguin, and you see frickin' Burgess Meredith's King Kong, the Iron Giant. Who am I leaving out here? I know it. Pennywise was in there. The new Pennywise, not the old one. The new Pennywise. It was the dumbest thing on the planet. This movie was so hard up on itself in terms of product placement that it covered up the entire story.
They focused more on like the villainous characters of all the Warner Brothers.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like all the mischief makers.
Yeah,
like the Mask was in there, and and when it came to Harry Potter, it was Slytherin people that were standing there. It did make a lot of sense. I don't know really what the point of it was, but I think I touched your boob. But the point of it is, it was so unreal. Like they just made it. It lacked the heart. of the original film. It just felt icky.
Too much.
It felt icky, is what it felt, Miss Pengrino. It felt icky. That's my soapbox on Space Jam 2.
Side note: LeBron James did make a really cute cartoon.
Going home. But overall, I mean, again, as much as I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one, it was still a cute film.
So probably,
I know I yelled a lot about this film,
Yeah.
but it was still an interesting enough film.
So probably children actually enjoyed it.
That's the weird thing.
Yeah.
And and that's what's weird. Again, I go back to the idea of this film. Like, the idea of the first one was unique. A basketball star, the greatest basketball player of all time, is sucked down to the Looney Tunes world to play a basketball game against space aliens. That was what drew us to the film. And we liked Looney Tunes, but even our generation wasn't like, Looney
Ducky go
Tunes.
down the hole.
Seriously, stop doing the pot, man. You're on pot.
I'm not on pot. That was just my favorite Tiny
Just
Toons
$1 a day can help people with their drug problems. It's fine. But anyway.
bit.
Anyway.
What has he had?
It wasn't like we were all hard up about the Looney Tunes back in the day. We had cartoons like Rocko's Modern Life, Ren and Stimpy. SpongeBob came along. It was a little after that, but I mean, those were our cartoons. The Looney Tunes. We loved them. We loved them more than this generation loves them.
For sure.
But they weren't like our favorite cartoon characters. The reason why we went to this
because they were kind of going out as we were coming in.
But the point is, the reason why we went to that movie was because it was a unique idea, a basketball game featuring Michael Jordan and Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
Michael Jordan sort of, and I'm not even a basketball person, but I've always loved Michael
Yeah.
Jordan. So
He's
the
the
fact
great
that
one.
he was with the Looney Tunes just made it even
It
better.
made it very entertaining and fun.
Yeah.
And so that's what drew people into that first one. What's drawing people into the second one? Nostalgia. That's why we're going to see it. I just don't know if kids will get behind it, because I know they don't give a crap about Looney Tunes now.
Yeah.
Today's generation couldn't care less about Looney Tunes. So that's not a draw.
Well, and then also the side characters that showed up in the first one were like much better, like the comedians that showed up,
Bill Murray?
and the dude from Seinfeld, because I can't think of his name.
Oh, Wayne Knight, yeah.
Yeah, like.
And that's another thing, again, because I was talking about the product placement in this film and how annoying it was seeing all these characters from all these Warner Brothers properties. They did a little.
The first one didn't really have any plot.
But that was what I was about to say. There is one scene in the movie where Wayne Knight comes into Michael Jordan's hotel room, and Michael Jordan at this point is already sipping out of a McDonald's cup. So you already got that going. But he goes in and he says this.
Come on, Michael, it's game time. Get your Hanes on, lace up your Nikes, grab your Wheaties and your Gatorade, and we'll pick up a Big Mac on the way to the ballpark.
So as you can see, it's like this big product thing, because he was a spokesperson for all of those things during that time. So that was done with heart. That was comical.
Yeah.
That was funny. It's not funny to see the mask standing on the sidelines of a basketball game.
Okay.
But the problem with this film, as like most sequels and soft reboots, is they tried too hard.
Too hard. Way too hard.
They tried too hard. But I mean, again, it was a cute. Well, something else I got to complain about: the CGI. They took the cartoon aspect of the film away. At some point in the film, this was what was really weird too. When LeBron enters Looney Tunes land, he becomes a cartoon.
It was adorable as a cartoon.
Which was hilarious. I thought
like a
that
2D cartoon. Like
that
Looney
was
Tunes
really,
was.
really funny. I liked that part. We just had pizza. But as the movie continued, though, something happens. I forget what it was, but anyway, LeBron becomes a human again, and then the Looney Tunes essentially become like real, like
3D.
real 3. But what it is, it's CGI. It's CGI versions of the cartoon, and that just took it out for me.
Well,
that took the fun out of it.
The
at that
reason
point.
that happens is because in this multiverse of Warner Brothers, as they go to each planet, which each planet is the different like shows that Warner Brother has, they change into the shape or graphics of that planet.
But when they were playing this basketball game, they were still cartoons. He changed them into whatever. So, but it just took it out. It took me out of the fun for it. It's just like I didn't like that. They should have just remained cartoons, and he should have remained a human like it was in the first film.
Because the game almost kind of became more serious than like a jokey serious, like the first one was.
It's all just weird. I don't know. So, Miss Pengrino, would you recommend Space Jam: A New Legacy?
Well, similar to the first one, yes and no.
I think because we talked about this before a little bit.
Yeah.
The consensus is if you have kids,
children, yes.
Take the kids,
especially if you're our age with children. This is the Space Jam for them, so you probably will not like it, but your children will love it, and they will love you for taking them to it. But if you're our age, I'm just going for the hell of it. No.
This is
don't do it.
For nostalgic sake. It's not worth going to see. It's not what we remembered. It's just a straight up sequel to the film that we loved from that era, and it's just not the same. They did the best they could with what they had, and it's like I said, I do like the movie for what it is.
For what it is, yeah, but it's not really a sequel. It's a reboot.
It's a soft reboot, is what it is. At the end of the day,
and they put it into today's terms, so all the computers and the graphics and all that, and so.
And that's something that reminds me. This movie is called Space Jam, and it has nothing to do with space. I saw somebody complain about this on Twitter the other day.
So
they said call it Space Jam. The first one was called Space Jam because they were playing basketball against who? Space aliens.
But as I tried to explain to him,
I'm so upset.
The night of this it is a version of space. It's an electronic version of space, because in the universe, the multiverse, each Warner Brothers group has their own planet in the multiverse. So it is a different kind of space.
And I get that, but I mean, the whole reason why the original film was called Space Jam was because it took place. Well, it didn't take place in space, but they were fighting space aliens. Some of the movie did take place in space. But anyway, I don't know. But that bothered me, that they called it Space Jam, and it really wasn't a movie about space anything.
It literally was called the multiverse.
I get it.
Like
I get
universe.
it. Computer space.
Yes.
I get it, but it's not the same.
But it's still space. It's just a different kind of space.
And that leads me to my final point. I have so many points about this movie, is that Space Jam was a movie that did not need a sequel, okay? No. It was a one-story film. You do it again, it's the same story. Besides, they did a sequel in 2003. A lot of people may forget this because the movie was a flop, but they did because they wanted to capitalize on Looney Tunes on the big screen, because Space Jam was like the first major motion picture that the Looney Tunes were ever in. That was with the exception of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but they were just like side characters in that. They didn't really.
It's like I don't really remember them in that.
Well, the Disney cartoons and the Warner Brothers cartoons came together to help Roger Rabbit, and that was the point of those cameos. But
it's been a hot minute since I've seen that.
It's a great film. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a great film, but maybe we should do a Get Real on it. I broke a nail. But anyway, the film itself Space Jam was the first major feature film featuring the Looney Tunes. So they tried to do it again with Looney Tunes Back in Action in 2003, which starred Brendan Fraser, Jenna Elfman, and Steve Martin.
Remember this.
Well, it's the same concept of mixing the Looney Tunes with human beings. And it did not work. The movie flopped, and so that's why they never really attempted another sequel again until the reboot era became all the rage, and now they're trying to do Space Jam 2. It just doesn't work, because if you do Space Jam again, it's the same movie.
Again, for children today, it is a great movie. It's a cute movie. It's entertaining. For our age people who were like, yeah, it's a nostalgia thing, they're bringing it back. It just wasn't. It was cute for what it was, but it is not Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes. It's just not.
So your recommendation for this would be yes for families, no for our generation. And I would agree with that 100%. If you are absolutely so hard up on nostalgia that you want to go see this movie, do it, I guess. But
maybe wait till it comes out.
You've been
so
warned.
Don't pay for it.
The point is you've been warned. We've told you now what it is. But like, if you've got a family with kids and you want them to go see, want to get out of the house, because let's face it, the pandemic's been rough. But it looks like maybe the pandemic's going to pick up again.
Yeah.
So if you want that space between, as Dave Matthews says, of going, to the theater and going to see a movie with the family to get the kid, go see Space Jam: A New Legacy. It's good for the family, but it's not great for our generation.
Our generation. For nostalgia purposes, it's not.
No. I can't.
What?
I couldn't.
Who?
I wouldn't. Why would I talk about my shirt, Miss Pengrino? Why are you saying talk about your shirt? Why would I do it? Well, I'll tell you why. Okay, fine, I'll do it. Let me tell you why I should talk about this shirt. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but this is the official Get Real t-shirt that you can pick up in our Superfuzz Teespring shop. Go to our About section right here on the YouTube page, and you'll find our merch shop, and you can buy this and many other shirts from the Superfuzz Productions brand. What are you waiting for? Go get you some shit.
We don't just have t-shirts, we have sweatshirts, tank tops, cups.
And your thing fell off.
It's just the cotton part, so it's fine.
Okay. Wow. Super professional show. That's what this is. But anyway, that is our review of Black Widow and Space Mutiny? No, not that movie. Space Jam: A New...
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Well, it kind of was a mutiny on the first one.
That's a Cameron Mitchell movie.
Oh.
So, yeah. But anyway, that's our review. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Superfuzz Productions family. All right, that's it. Good night.
Hey, oh, God. Ow!